New this morning, a WRAL weather alert day is in effect due to the potential for more localized flooding and a few stronger thunderstorms coming up. We're going to walk you through the timeline.
A large tree is toppled over here, and as you can see, it's blocking all of Dixie Trail behind me. Coming up, I'll show you the cleanup that's being done right now.
Search and rescue crews will continue their search this morning for a man who disappeared at Raleigh Beach here yesterday. We'll explain the efforts underway and how the city is working to make this area safer.
Plus, former President Donald Trump will be back in North Carolina today. Hear what he is expected to focus on during his first public appearance since President Biden dropped from the race for the White House. A lot of eyes on that today. Of course, we'll have full coverage on our end here at WRAL News. Thanks for joining us here this morning on a Weather Alert Day. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Another WRAL Weather Alert Day. This is just becoming a pattern now.
Yes.
But you know what? We need the rain, and we've gotten it. Meteorologist Chris Michael showing us the totals of Hillsborough. I mean, almost 5 inches of rain.
Exactly. That's about a month's worth of rain here within the past 3 days in places like Hillsborough and Rocky Mount. Clayton and Cary, you've seen more than 3 inches. Siler City, Fayetteville, you've seen anywhere from about 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches. And again, that's just been within the past 3 days or so. There's more to come as we go through the next 3 days. And that's why a flood watch is in effect. That's why our weather alert day is in effect. And another one may be needed for tomorrow as we see more rain. Just a little bit of a recap here. Watch means conditions are favorable, that it's possible. A warning means that flooding has either been observed or it will happen soon. We don't have any warnings out there just yet. Let's look at the overall timeline. It looks like additional showers and storms, they'll start to pop after about 3 p.m. today. That's why we see that chance for some localized tree damage. You saw Nick Perlin there. He's on the scene of some along Dixie Trail. We'll hear from him in just a little bit. There you see most of our rain starting to move off toward the east. Live cameras right now in Raleigh and in Durham. Overall, things are looking pretty good out there in the Triangle area for the time being. But we have more time for the heat to come back into the mix. The heat index peaking between about 100, 102. The atmosphere during that time kind of reloading. So then we see more showers and storms developing by the evening. Futurecast coming your way in just a bit.
Chris, some wet road conditions out there, and as a result, we've got a troubled start building this morning. This just happened just a little while ago. We're talking about a crash that happened on the exit ramp coming off of 87 in those southbound lanes. You can see the heavy delay it's causing in that area. If you're on 87, you're listening to us on the radio, I would recommend getting off on New Hope Road and taking New Bern Avenue and getting around this mess, because right now it's a real bumper-to-bumper traffic there on that exit ramp coming off of the 87 southbound lanes onto I-440 westbound. Another trouble spot, the south side of the Beltline. This is I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. These are the westbound lanes moving away from us. And if I-40 is part of your morning commute this morning, I want to give you a look at exactly what you're looking at this morning. Particularly that south side of the Beltline is going to add about 8 minutes to your morning commute. So keep that in mind as well. We do have the WRAL storm tracker out on the roadways this morning, giving you a closer look at what to expect. And right now, they're on one of the local roads that just got off of Wade Avenue. And this is around, I want to say, near the Village District right there and on Wade Avenue. Not much rain to talk about this morning, but you can see windshield wipers are going every now and then. But definitely give yourself some extra time if you're getting ready to head out.
And Ken, those roads are obviously clear. They're driving through there, but it's a very different story elsewhere. As crews are working to clear a tree that's blocking the road on Dixie Trail near Churchill Road in Raleigh. That's where we find WRAL's Nick Perlin and the breaking news tracker. Nick, that team's still out there. Cars aren't getting through for a minute.
Yeah, that's right. I've seen cars all morning drive up to see this large tree blocking Dixie Trail and then needing to turn around because obviously there's no way through. I'm going to get behind the camera and show you just how large this tree is because, I mean, just imagine how large this has to be to block the entire road here. And you can see as I zoom in here, you see those roots sticking out of the ground and the large tree. It looks like it was in somebody's front lawn and toppled over at some point during the storms last night. You can see crews here here with the city of Raleigh here working to remove those branches here that are still on the ground. But it's worth mentioning that this is the second tree that's toppled over on Dixie Trail in the last 8 days. That first one was on July 16th, and it took out power. Now, this is going to take a while. These crews have been here for a couple hours now working to remove this large tree. You can take another look right here. I'm going to stay on top of this all morning, and as the cleanup continues, I'll be sure to update you on the progress being made. Live in Raleigh, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
This morning, the search will resume for a man who disappeared while swimming at the Neuse River at Raleigh Beach. That search was called off last night because of weather. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from near the beach this morning. Laura, this is the fourth reported drowning there in 2 months, the second this week.
Yes, Michelle, I spoke with the Wake County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer. She tells me that crews are expected to begin arriving here around 9:30. Behind me, you can see deputies parked right in front of this Neuse River Trail entrance. We did see one truck with the Wake Forest Fire Department. A water and rescue team arrived, so we're just going to keep monitoring things as the day progresses. The Wake County Sheriff's Office responded to the call around 11:45 yesterday morning. A view from Sky 5 shows search boats in the water and a tent set up on a nearby bridge. A witness said a man was in the water and never resurfaced. The rain we've received over the past couple of days is complicating matters and has made the water muddy. After the fourth reported drowning in 2 months, crews with the city of Raleigh are putting up a gate to restrict traffic to city staff vehicles and first responders. So a spokesperson we spoke with for the city of Raleigh also said that they're working to find ways to make this area safer. Behind me, actually, we have a truck here with the Nightdale Fire Department bringing equipment here in. So, you know, this is a very fluid situation this morning as we begin to see these crews arrive. We'll let you know and keep you posted how things shape up on the search for this missing man. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Hope they find them. Former President Donald Trump will be back in North Carolina today. He'll be holding a campaign rally in Charlotte. It's actually his first public rally since President Biden dropped from the presidential race. Trump is expected to focus on his likely new opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris. He'll take the stage tonight. That is at 6 o'clock inside Bojangles Coliseum. The Secret Service is now recommending Trump and Harris both stop holding outdoor rallies. And yes, WRAL's Eric Miller will have live reports. That starts at noon. You can count on WRAL bringing you updates on air, online, and on the WRAL News app.
Today, the Democratic National Convention starts the process of naming its new presidential nominee. A committee will meet to talk about the process for how to pick a new nominee to replace President Joe Biden on the ticket. Vice President Kamala Harris has secured the backing of enough delegates to get the nomination. The DNC plans to hold a virtual roll call before the convention to select a nominee. DNC Chair Jamie Harrison says that process should wrap up August 7th, 12 days before the convention starts.
Meanwhile, Kamala Harris is putting her energy into criticizing President Donald Trump. Harris held her first rally Tuesday in Wisconsin, and she compared him to the criminals she once took on as a prosecutor. Harris also zeroed in on his praise of the Supreme Court for overturning Roe v. Wade.
We trust women to make decisions about their own body and not have their government tell them what to do.
During a phone press conference, Trump said Harris is the same as Biden, but much more radical.
Tonight, President Joe Biden is expected to address the nation from the Oval Office. He's expected to talk about his decision to leave the presidential race after immense pressure from fellow Democrats. He'll also lay out what he hopes to do in his final 6 months in office. You can watch President Biden's address tonight on WRAL. It is scheduled to start at 8 o'clock. Delta Airlines still trying to recover from the worldwide computer outage last week. Already this morning, many flights, about 28 flights delayed and 3 canceled at RDU. More than 100 others are affected across the country. And the Department of Transportation is now launching an investigation into the airline. The airline CEO is apologizing to passengers who have been stranded for days. He says Delta is fully cooperating with the Transportation Department's investigation.
We have breaking news we're following this morning. It is official. The Winter Olympic Games will return to Salt Lake City in 2034. The International Olympic Committee made the formal announcements this morning in Paris, and the mayor there was so excited to have it come to Salt Lake City.
We are just 2 days away from the opening ceremony for the 2024 Paris Olympics, but some action is kicking off there today. The U.S. men's soccer team, players under the age of 23, will take on France in an opening round group match. The game starts at 3 o'clock this afternoon. WRAL is your home for the Summer Olympics. We'll have live coverage starting this Friday through August 11th. You can look for live reports from Paris throughout the competition at 6 a.m., 6 p.m., and 11 p.m.
We have just some stunning video that was captured of a whale crashing into a boat, and then the daring rescue from a nearby fisherman.
And new hope for a ceasefire deal in Gaza. Why U.S. and Israeli officials are optimistic about the end of the war.
And this morning, we're tracking 2 different rounds of rain. Round 1 moving out, round 2 moving in late this afternoon into the evening. That's the reason for another WRAL weather alert day. Coming up, we'll walk you through the timing of additional storms.
Welcome back on your Wednesday morning as you look live over Wilson, a very cloudy Wilson. You're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Lots of us were woken up last night by that thunder and lightning, Chris. I couldn't go back to sleep. My room was flashing. We're going to get more of that.
And it looks like we will get more of the lightning, the thunder, the heavy rain, you name it, especially as we head into this coming evening. That's the reason for our WRAL weather alert day, a flood watch that goes into effect starting with 11 o'clock this morning and going through tomorrow night. Remember, a watch means that flooding is possible. So that's one of the components to this. Much like the past few days, there's also the chance of level 1 risk for severe storms, meaning that some of those will be isolated mainly near and to the north of the triangle. Timing for this is anytime really between about 3 p.m. and 11 p.m. We'll get to that in future cast coming up in just a little bit. You notice most of the rain is off toward Greenville, Washington, New Bern, maybe a few stray showers, trying to move a little bit closer to areas like Burlington just to our west. That eventually is going to fill in from west to east. Futurecast has done a really good job of handling this particular situation. Here we are around lunchtime. I can't rule out a stray shower just because of the humidity out there, but most of the storms we see developing starting north of the triangle after 3 p.m. and then turning a little more scattered the rest of the evening. I think we could actually see a little bit more than what Futurecast is showing around 8 p.m. And I'm really hoping this clears the area by midnight. Otherwise, it could be another night of disturbed sleep for us. And we've already had 2 of those this week. First thing tomorrow morning could be a wet commute at times with that front just hanging out with us here for the next several days. Live look at the WRAL Gardens really greening up over the past few weeks. Apex, Chapel Hill, our newsroom in Fayetteville, so far so good as that rain clears out. So there's plenty of time to get some exercising in. It's just really sticky out there. And keep in mind, today is going to feel much like yesterday with a high of about 91 and the heat index closing in on about 100 to 102. Tracking moisture levels, though, you see that tropical humidity that's right overhead. But as this front passes from north to south, the wind changes direction out of the northeast. It means some drier air settling in for the weekend. So as we look ahead to your weekend plans, we're giving you the green light. Trending drier Saturday, believe it or not. And then by Sunday, we're warm still. It's late July. It's just not going to be quite as humid. So we'll take that break in the tropical air mass that's been overhead for the past 3 weeks. There's our weather alert day for today. We're contemplating issuing one for tomorrow as we see another chance for flooding, and that flood watch goes through tomorrow night. Not quite as hot Thursday and Friday, highs 81 to 83, but look at that weekend forecast. We'll take it, highs 87 to 89 degrees. Ken?
All right, Chris, some wet road conditions out there. We continue to monitor the situation on Raleigh's east side this morning. It's a real trouble spot, especially for drivers coming in from the Knightdale area. This is a crash on the exit ramp on I-440. It's likely in the clearing phase. A little while ago, this was bumper-to-bumper traffic, and I was recommending that you get off on New Hope Road, but right now it's not causing any problems for those coming in. But once you get past there, this is the usual morning congestion that you see on that side of the Beltline. In a few minutes, I'll give you an update right here in the WRAL Traffic Center. This is another troubled spot we've been looking at this morning. This is I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. These are the westbound lanes moving away from us this morning. And this is part of your morning commute. Let's take a look at those delay times. Right now, as congested as that looks, it's only adding about 6 minutes to your commute time from the Beltline to US 1, a couple of minutes from Wade Avenue onto I-540. If you're listening to us on the radio, we appreciate that. You can do the same by listening to WRAL News Plus at 99.3 FM in Raleigh and 96.5 FM in Durham.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will address Congress today on Capitol Hill, where you're looking live this morning. His address comes as there's new hope for a ceasefire and hostage deal in the Israel-Hamas war. Both the U.S. and Israeli officials are voicing optimism about the end of the war. President Biden said earlier this week negotiations are, quote, on the verge of reaching a deal. A source familiar with negotiations says Israel will not give its latest response to mediators, at least not until after Netanyahu meets with Biden tomorrow.
Relatives of hostages held by Hamas in Gaza are urging Netanyahu to announce a hostage deal during his speech in Washington today. They gathered in Tel Aviv, marching and holding signs that read, "Bring them home now," and leaving no one behind. Hamas is reportedly still holding more than 100 hostages, including 8 dual American citizens. Israel has reported that around a third of those hostages are believed to be dead.
This morning, the Secret Service has new leadership. Deputy Director Ronald Rowe is now in charge because Director Kimberly Cheadle resigned yesterday. Cheadle resigned a day after testifying on Capitol Hill. She was being critically questioned about the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump's life. A bipartisan task force is investigating the security failures.
The Trump campaign is challenging Kamala Harris's use of President Biden's campaign funds. Trump's campaign filed a complaint with the Federal Elections Commission. It accuses Harris of violating campaign finance laws by taking more than $90 million from President Biden's funding. Some campaign finance experts tell NBC News that Harris could take control of the money without issue because her name was on the original paperwork.
And Michelle, the Federal Trade Commission has scored a legal victory in its quest to end non-compete clauses. A Pennsylvania federal judge upheld the FTC's ban yesterday. It's set to go in effect September 4th while various lawsuits continue. If you don't know, non-compete clauses prevent workers from changing jobs within a similar industry and affect about 20% of the U.S. labor force. Shortly after the FTC voted for the ban in April, several businesses sued to block it. They claimed it would prevent them from protecting trade secrets and other sensitive company information.
Tomorrow's rain will bring more than precipitation to the area. The system may bring dust particles all the way from the Sahara Desert. Let's bring in meteorologist Chris Michaels. Chris, what is Saharan dust and how will it impact us?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about what it is versus what it isn't, right? It's just as it sounds. It's this plume of dust and sand that comes from the Sahara Desert in Africa. This is not a dust storm that you see like in the videos out of Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico. It's nothing like that. Now, is it dangerous? Not necessarily. If it's thick enough, it can really affect air quality. But for our purposes, it's really not going to be that thick. Let's give you the global view. You see high pressure in the clockwise flow around it. You see all that brownish color. That's the dust that's coming in off the coast of Africa. Notice how there is a limited amount that tries to reach into the Carolinas. So if it rains heavily enough between now and tomorrow, you could see very trace amounts. Again, I don't think this is really going to affect our air quality. It's just something that you may see in some of the heavier rain bands heading into Thursday. And there will be plenty. We're talking about that in our continuing coverage of our WRAL Weather Alert Day. There's also more on how the Saharan dust affects tropics. That's coming up on WRAL Plus from 10:30 to noon.
All right, thank you, Chris. 2 men were miraculously unharmed after a breaching whale crashed onto their boat off the coast of New Hampshire. Teenage brothers who were fishing nearby caught this on camera. Their boat was sailing near Portsmouth when this happened. According to the Coast Guard, the people on that boat were thrown from the vessel. Fortunately, they were not hurt. The teenagers rushed to the rescue, and the 2 men say they are grateful to be alive.
It's kind of a miracle, that I'm alive, and I don't know what was going through my head. It was just kind of survival.
Truly grateful to them and their quick thinking, because they were the ones who were making the video, and they just dropped everything, zoomed right over, and plucked us out.
And soccer fans at Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill were treated to a lot of goals in the FC Series match between Man City and Celtic FC. A severe weather warning just an hour before kickoff forced fans to evacuate the stadium. But the match went on as scheduled. It was all tied up at 3 in the 68th minute when Celtic broke free and scored to go on top. They held on for a 4-3 win. Well, today, the ACC kickoff. New Duke football coach Manny Diaz will talk about the team's preparations for the coming season. Diaz was named Duke's head coach in December. He replaces Mike Elko, who left the Blue Devils to become head coach at Texas A&M. Our WRAL sports team is in Charlotte for the ACC kickoff. Check in with them in our later newscast for the biggest developments later today.
Former President Donald Trump will be in North Carolina today, speaking for the first time since President Biden dropped from the race to the White House. What he's planning to focus on and the new security measures that he is following after the attempted assassination. Just a reminder, today is a WRAL Weather Alert Day. We are watching things very carefully outside as we're taking you live at Durham. The cloud coverage is there, but folks, there is a chance for flooding today. We have a flood watch that is in effect right now through Thursday. We have Chris Michaels coming back in just a bit. He'll explain what you can expect today, tomorrow, and the weekend as well.
Stay safe with the latest WRAL Weather Alert Day info. Get up to the minute weather and traffic conditions when you get in your car. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM, in Durham 96.5 FM, and everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. It is a WRAL Weather Alert Day. We have a flood watch through tomorrow. Meteorologist Chris Michaels has more on that.
Exactly, and it's most of us that have that flood watch, indicating that flooding is possible. If a warning is issued, that's when things become a little more imminent for us. No warnings in effect just yet. In fact, a dual Doppler 5000 shows just a few of those showers trying to sneak back into the northwestern part of our viewing area, parts of Orange, Durham, and Person counties. These are pretty light. These wouldn't go causing any additional flooding. But our hour-by-hour rain chances showing that isolated coverage through about midday. Then as we head toward the evening, look toward the right-hand side of your screen. That's when storm chances are going to start to pick up. So in addition to the threat for flooding, there's that level 1 risk for isolated severe thunderstorms in the northern half of the area. Basically take Wake County to the north, and that's what we're going to be watching as we head into the evening.
All right, Chris, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. Traffic has definitely picked up, particularly around the Beltline this morning, on the north side of the Beltline, particularly around the south side of the Beltline. We're seeing traffic picking up. I'll show you what's going on in a little bit. Over in Durham, we're seeing a little bit of a slowdown in both directions of I-885 north and southbound lanes. But let's take you outside and show you what I'm talking about, those south side of the Beltline this morning. There's a live camera at I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. The westbound lanes are moving away from us. I just checked, and really that's going to add about 7 minutes to your morning commute.
Ken, former President Donald Trump will hold a campaign rally tonight at 6 inside Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte. The Secret Service recommends Trump and Harris stop holding rallies outside. WRAL's Eric Miller will have live reports at noon. WRAL will bring you updates on air, online, and on the WRAL News app. Our news continues over on Fox 50.
And new this morning, another WRAL Weather Alert Day is in effect because of a flood watch that goes into effect at 11 a.m. today, and it goes through tomorrow. Coming up, we're going to time out the additional storms that we see on an already saturated ground.
Plus, the search for a missing swimmer will get underway any minute now. The actions the city of Raleigh is taking because 4 reported drownings at the Neuse River.
And former President Donald Trump making his first public appearance since Biden's historic decision to drop out of the race. What we're expecting from Trump's rally today in Charlotte. Thank you so much for joining us here at 8:30 on your Wednesday morning, halfway through the week. It is a WRAL Weather Alert Day. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
I'm Chris Lovingett. More like your wet Wednesday morning because of the Weather Alert Day we have in place here today. Chris Michaels watching closely, even the potential for flooding.
Exactly, and it's because of the rain that we've seen over the past few days, in addition to the rain that we'll see over the next few days. So there's that flood potential for today, tomorrow, and even into Friday. Friday, it looks like it's going to be farther south of the Triangle and including portions of the Sandhills. But the Weather Prediction Center puts out that low, medium, high, or extreme risk for flooding flooding each day. We've had that medium risk for the past 8 days in a row and 13 of the last 24. So it seems like it's just kind of a habit we can't kick. We're going to kick it, though, as we head into the weekend. Dual Doppler 5000 showing a few light rain showers. You see some of those trying to move into Mecklenburg County on the Virginia side of things. Also keeping an eye on areas like Person, Granville, Vance counties. Also areas like Orange and Durham counties where you could see some additional light rain this morning. Live look, though, at Fenton and Cary. The sun trying to break through. Look at the clouds kind of moving there on the top of the screen. So at least there's some movement in the atmosphere, but it is a very tropical feel once again. That's some of the humidity that these storms will have to work with later in the day. When the dew point's in the 70s, that's really air you can wear. You really feel it as you step outside this morning. There is some time to take the dog for a walk over the course of the next few hours. Our storm chances really start to go up as we head into the evening. We'll share the latest with you on Futurecast coming up in my full forecast.
All right, Chris, some wet road conditions out there for sure, and all new into the WRAL Traffic Center. We just got reports of Raleigh police working a crash this morning right there near downtown. It's on New Bern Avenue in the eastbound lane near King Charles Road. Again, it just happened just a little while ago, and it's not causing any problems in this particular area, but I know many of you use New Bern Avenue to get into the downtown area, but just look for some police activity in that area and know that just be careful as you drive through there. Another crash we've been monitoring for the last hour or so, it's basically in the clearing phase. It was on the exit ramp there on I-440 into the westbound lanes. It was causing a huge backup this morning, but nothing to worry about now. It's, like I said, it's probably in the clearing phase. You see that little bit of a slowdown there on those north side of the belt line. Let's take you outside and show you exactly what we're talking about here. The westbound lanes of I-40 and the belt line coming towards us with our camera at I-440 and Capitol Boulevard. Definitely just the morning congestions that we see this morning. Another trouble spot this morning has been I-40 and Lake Wheeler Road. The westbound lanes are going away from us. If I-40 is part of your commute this morning, listen, it's getting better, actually. For a while there, the belt line, that was up to about 10 minutes. Now it's just down to 3 minutes and just a couple of minutes there on Wade Avenue.
Thanks, Ken. Teams will be back on the Neuse River today trying to find a man who disappeared while swimming at Raleigh Beach. WRAL's Laura Levine joins us live from near that beach this morning. Laura, this is the fourth reported drowning there in the last 2 months, and in the past hour, we've seen people behind you go into the park.
Yes, Michelle, we've been here since 4 o'clock this morning, and we are now beginning to see those crews arrive. We've seen the Wake Forest Fire Department Water and Rescue Team. We've seen crews from Nightdale. So, of course, several agencies coming out here to respond. The Wake County Sheriff's Office responded to the call initially around 11:45 yesterday morning. A view from Sky 5 shows search boats in the water and a tent set up on a nearby bridge. A witness said a man was in the water and never resurfaced. The rain we've received over the past couple of days is complicating matters and has made the water muddy. After the fourth reported drowning in 2 months, crews with the city of Raleigh are putting up a gate to restrict traffic to city staff vehicles and first responders. Some tell us this is a necessary step.
Absolutely. I feel happy because there's not going to be no more people drowning. I mean, every time, at least once a month or twice a month, you can see the firefighters and the police coming.
Yeah, so the city of Raleigh also working to partner with some of these agencies to figure out a way to make this area safe for everyone. We know crews will begin to continue arriving throughout the morning. We'll keep you updated on how the search is going for this missing man. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Former President Donald Trump will be back in North Carolina today. This is a live look in Charlotte where he will be. He's holding a campaign rally there. It's his first public rally since President Biden dropped out of the presidential race. Trump is expected to turn his full focus on his likely new opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris. He'll take the stage tonight at 6 inside Bojangles Coliseum. The Secret Service is now recommending that Trump and Harris both stop holding rallies outside. And WRAL's Eric Miller will have live reports starting at noon. You can count on WRAL to bring you updates on air, online, and on the WRAL News app.
And Michelle, today the Democratic National Convention starts the process of naming its new presidential nominee. A committee will meet to talk about the process for how to pick a new nominee to replace President Joe Biden on the ticket. Vice President Kamala Harris has secured enough backing of delegates to get the nomination. The DNC plans to hold a virtual roll call before the convention to select a nominee. The process is expected to wrap up by August 7th. That is 12 days before the convention starts.
And Kamala Harris is on the campaign trail, and she is quickly advancing her attack strategy against former President Trump. Harris held her first rally Tuesday in Wisconsin. She told the crowd that Trump wants to take the country backward. She also contrasted her record with his.
I took on perpetrators of all kinds, predators who abused women. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
Trump attacked Harris in a phone press conference, saying she is the same as Biden, but much more radical.
And tonight, President Joe Biden is expected to address the nation from the Oval Office. He's expected to talk about his decision to leave the presidential race. Both Republicans and Democrats were calling for him to step aside. Biden is also expected to explain what he hopes to accomplish in his final 6 months in office. You can watch President Biden's address tonight on WRAL. That is scheduled to start at 8 p.m.
A 14-year-old boy remains in the hospital this morning after being shot at a home in Clayton. We first brought you this story as breaking news yesterday morning. WRAL spoke to the teen's uncle, who says his nephew was playing video games when he was shot. Clayton police say it happened at a duplex on Pond Street.
He told his father that some guy ran in the house, and when he was trying to run, he got shot from the back. It went into his back and out his chest.
Police say 28-year-old Andrea Bailey was also hurt in that shooting. She was shot in the hip. So far, Clayton police have not made any arrests.
Jeff Hogan in the WRAL Live Center. Brand new information coming in if you are a fan of Conn's Home Plus stores, the home goods, furniture, and electronics store. You better get there quickly. It is filed for bankruptcy right now. It is a 134-year-old company, and it's closing nearly half of its 170 stores, 73 of the stores to be exact. There are locations in Raleigh, Garner, Rocky Mount, and Fayetteville in our area. And the Raleigh store is the only one listed on the Conn's website as closing. That's on Millbrook Road. You see the location here. It's a Texas-based company, but shares of that company, nearly over a century-old company, shares have fallen more than 80% for the year, and the company received a delisting notice from NASDAQ a few weeks ago.
Thank you, Jeff. A funeral service will be held Saturday for former Durham District Attorney Leon Standback. He died Saturday and was 81 years old. The longtime judge was a graduate of North Carolina Central University and became Durham County's DA in 2011 and continued in that role until his retirement in 2014. His service will be Saturday morning at 10 a.m. at St. Joseph's AME Church in Durham.
UNC Health Systems are back up and running after a technology problem created scattered outages yesterday. The outages were not released to Friday's CrowdStrike outage. A UNC Health spokesperson tells WRAL a cooling problem in one of the computer data centers. That's what caused the problem. The spokesperson said IT experts restored the system quickly. He added that hospital staff are trained on what to do in case of outages like this.
Covering Wake County, you can get a free fan today thanks to a giveaway by the Salvation Army. The giveaway starts at 9 this morning. That is in the parking lot on Capitol Boulevard. The Salvation Army has 149 fans to give away thanks to a partnership with Westlake Ace Hardware. The giveaway will go until noon or until the fans are all given up.
The state fair may be 3 months away, but you could get your tickets to go here now. Advance tickets are on sale, including special themed packages. You can get fast track gate admission, unlimited rides, and save your spot on the State Fair Skygazer. You can also get your tickets on the State Fair website now or at the Dorton Arena kiosk on weekends. The fair runs October 17th through the 27th. Coming up, a large explosion forces part of Yellowstone National Park to close. We have more video of this hydrothermal explosion and what causes these types of explosions.
And dearest gentle reader, we have an announcement for fans of Bridgerton. What sibling will find love in the newest season of the hit Netflix series?
He is the perfect person to read that tease. I love it. And you are taking a live look at Southern Pines this WRAL Weather Alert Day. We have 3 more days of tropical downpours in the forecast. Meteorologist Chris Michaels tells us how much rain we can expect. Welcome back. Just coming up on 8:44 on your Wednesday morning. All those golfers out there in Pinehurst trying to squeeze in a game before the rain makes its way into the area. Meteorologist Chris Michaels is tracking the timeline for these storms and how much of this rain we're going to see.
Hey, the golf stops for no one, right? Check it out. Yeah, so we've got a lot more rain on the way. It's just not happening this morning. Most of it has moved out of the area and moved off toward the east, but it woke a lot of us up overnight. Now, by midday, we're heating up. We're mostly dry by midday. It's really as we head into the evening that we see the better chance of impactful weather, scattered storms, heavy rain, and some wind. Flood watch in effect through tomorrow night because we see the potential for an additional 1 to 3 inches of rain. Right-hand side of your screen is the severe risk. That's a level 1, an indication that any kind of strong thunderstorms would be isolated near and north of the triangle later today. Here's lunchtime, and with this front nearby, I still can't rule out maybe a few stray showers. We'll call our coverage 20%. That goes up slightly by 4 p.m. I think Futurecast could afford to show a few more storms given what we've got going on here. By 8 p.m., more numerous storms passing through. And I know you don't necessarily want to hear this, but there's the chance that we have more storms overnight, disrupting sleep a little bit heading into Thursday morning. We'll keep an eye on things heading into Thursday morning. May need another WRAL weather alert day as the potential for flooding continues. And that happens because of the tropical humidity that's in place. When dew points are 70 to 75 like they are right now, that's pretty much top of the charts, pretty much where we've been for the past 3 weeks. So as we start to heat things up, you'll notice the heat index getting to between about 98 and 102 this afternoon. So if you have the day off with the kids, the pool may actually be a popular place to be, assuming that the sun breaks out. Check out this view from Kathy and Vass. A lot of us have been seeing views like this because of the storms that have been happening over the past few nights. Great shot there. You can send your pictures in through WRAL.com. Just search Weather Watchers and we'll show those on TV and online. Now, as we head into the weekend, don't think we see many views like that. Remember how I said for the past 3 weeks we've had tropical humidity? We finally get a break from that. Now, it's July. It's still going to be hot. It's still going to be a touch on the humid side, but at least tolerable. I'll take that over the past 3 weeks of the soupiness that we've had. And that's going to contribute again to additional storm chances today. Possibility of a weather alert day being issued for tomorrow as the flood potential continues until then. Temperatures are going to take a little bit of a back seat heading into Thursday and Friday. Highs about 81 to 83. But look at that weekend forecast. That is gorgeous. Highs 87 to 89. Humidity levels coming down as well. High temperatures near 90 by early next week.
Gorgeous weekend indeed. Thanks, Chris. Breaking news, crews are working to clear a big tree that is blocking the road on Dixie Trail. That's near Churchill Road in Raleigh. Nick Perlin was there in the WRAL Breaking News Tracker as they worked to remove that tree.
Cars looking to travel this way down Dixie Trail Lane had no choice but to turn around this morning because a large tree is blocking the road after toppling over last night. Now take a look at this video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker, and you can see just how large this tree is with the roots sticking up out of the ground. Crews with Raleigh used a crane to try to remove some of the large branches to try to clean up the mess as quickly as possible. It's worth mentioning this is the second tree that's toppled over on Dixie Trail in the last 8 days. The first one was on July 16th and it knocked out power. We'll continue to update you on how the cleanup's going and once the road is finally reopened. In Raleigh, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
From monster trucks to superheroes, this weekend will feature some family fun. WRAL lifestyle editor Kathy Hanrahan is here with a list of these family-friendly events, 3 of them that are coming this weekend. Kathy, good morning. Let's start off with a chance to see the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics on the big screen. We're so excited for this.
It's going to be amazing. Okay, Marbles Kids Museum is hosting a screening of NBC's broadcast of the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics on Friday. It's happening from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. at the museum IMAX Theater. Now, adult tickets are $15 and tickets for children under 12 years old are $12.
And from athletes to superheroes, people might see the likes of Spider-Man and Captain America in downtown Raleigh. Tell us why they're in town.
Do not be alarmed if you see Spider-Man. The annual GalaxyCon fan convention is taking place over at the Raleigh Convention Center starting tomorrow. And it's going to run through Sunday. There's going to be celebrities, voice actors, lots of vendors, and great costumes. The event celebrates all things pop culture and features, some amazing panels to check out. Now, single-day tickets are still available, and they start at $40. Now, families planning to attend might want to go Thursday or Friday. That's when children ages 5 to 9 years old are admitted free. Children ages 4 and under are admitted free with a paid adult all weekend.
Very fun. And fans of monster trucks will want to check out this event at PNC Arena.
Monster Jam is back. It's all happening this weekend. We got giant trucks. They're going to be racing, flipping, doing stunts in PNC Arena. That's like a dirt track that they build in there just for this event. There's 3 shows to choose from this weekend, and tickets start at about $15.
It's a lot of fun. I've been to Monster Truck and Monster Jam. It's awesome. It's another busy weekend ahead for families in the Triangle. And for more information on these events, you can go to WRAL.com and search keyword family. Thanks, Kathy.
Monster growth in Raleigh. Just less than 20 minutes ago, the Downtown Raleigh Alliance announced its second quarter growth report for 2024. I'm going to scroll through just some of the highlights for you right here. As it shows, there are 17 developments that are underway, and when they're done, there'll be more than 1,800 residential units and more than 400 hotel rooms involved. Okay, storefront activity, 15 new storefront businesses opened in the second quarter, and there are plenty more on the way. How about visitors? Downtown Raleigh had its best month for visitors since the pandemic. More than 1.8 million visitors, and that is almost a 9% increase over the year before.
Significant improvements there. Thanks, Jeff. This is a live look at the U.S. Capitol. That is where Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to address lawmakers today. He's also expected to meet with President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Netanyahu's arrival in Washington was met with protests. We're talking about 200 people being arrested at the U.S. Capitol during a pro-Palestinian protest yesterday. This will be Netanyahu's 4th speech to Congress.
Southwest Airlines faces a federal review after multiple near accidents. The airline says it's working with the Federal Aviation Administration. Southwest says it has created a team of experts to find safety improvements. This comes following instances of flights dropping too low and a plane taking off from a closed runway. While each incident is receiving its own investigation, the FAA's audit will look at the airline's entire operations.
So just a reminder, if you've had a flight canceled, you have rights. If ever your site is breaking down how newly established passenger protections affect you. If your flight was canceled, you can get a refund if you choose not to travel. You should also get a refund if your flight is significantly delayed, and you should get baggage fees returned to you if your baggage is lost. The U.S. Department of Transportation also has a list of what different airlines have committed to do for passengers in case there is a problem. And yes, we do have a link to this on WRAL.com.
Iowa will soon become the next state to make nearly all abortions illegal. Iowa's heartbeat bill will go into effect on Monday. It bans all abortions after a fetal heartbeat can be detected. That's about 6 weeks, which is before many women even know that they're pregnant. The law has exceptions for rape, incest, and medical emergencies. Iowa's Supreme Court denied a request from Planned Parenthood to rehear a challenge of that bill. And part of Yellowstone National Park is closed this morning after a large explosion. This happened in the Biscuit Basin area. Officials say it was a hydrothermal explosion, which happens when fluids transition to steam and expand. There was some damage, but no injuries. Officials say there are no signs of an imminent volcanic eruption either.
Apple could be working on a phone that folds. A report says that the iPhone maker could be creating a foldable phone to be released as early as 2026. This report also says the phone could be folded horizontally, and the company is still working to flatten the crease of the fold and make the phone thinner.
Bridgerton has its lead character for season 4. We are learning which Bridgerton character will lead the story in the next season of the hit Netflix series. And the series will focus on the love story of perpetual bachelor Benedict Bridgerton. He is played by actor Luke Thompson. The story is based on the 3rd Bridgerton novel, which sees Benedict searching for a lady in silver that he meets at a masquerade ball. Netflix has not announced a release date for the next season yet. But I haven't seen this, Chris. I'm hearing from so many people I need to watch this show because it's amazing.
I hear the next season, Sir Dillingsworth talks with Madame Knickknack, and they're going to get married. That's not Bridgerton, but it sounds like it, right?
It sounds like it could be, yeah. All right, thanks. And before we go to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.